The snow had begun innocently in the afternoon. A pure white blanket seemed to slowly settle over the vast city. But when evening fell, what was coming down was no longer just snow. It was a cover that sealed roads, smothered sounds, and left a man alone with his thoughts. Ravenwood Lodge stood by itself on the mountainside. Large. And alone. Its wooden walls groaned under the wind. A house solid and unyielding, as if daring even the harshest weather to challenge it. Yet something felt wrong. As if the house sensed what was approaching, but could not speak of it. Jonathan Hale stood by the window. He watched the falling snow in silence, his eyes thoughtful, distant. He looked down at the white expanse below.
"No one will leave this place tonight,"
he said to himself. There was something unsettling in the satisfaction in his voice. The living room slowly filled. The fireplace was lit. Crystal glasses were arranged on the table. Eleanor Brooks, Jonathan's assistant, was as orderly as ever. She glanced at her watch. Marked the time for his medication in her mind. Jonathan noticed.
"Not tonight, Eleanor. I have guests."
Eleanor hesitated.
"Doctor."
"The doctor is here. And I'm still alive."
Dr. Samuel Carter smiled faintly when he heard this. But the smile never reached his eyes. The lack of sincerity there was easy to see. There were 7 people at the table. But the conversation was not meant for 7. Jonathan spoke. The others listened.
"I've finished my new novel. Some of you may find it."
Margaret Lowell frowned.
"Did you write about us?"
Jonathan raised his glass, suggestively, as though someone, perhaps several people, ought to take offense.
"Everyone finds themselves. But some people don't like what they see."
Charles Hale did not look at his father. He seemed disturbed by the thought that Jonathan knew, or sensed, something. He drank his whiskey quickly. There was something like guilt in his manner. Attorney Victor Langley pressed his lips together. Henry Collins slipped a pen from his pocket and placed it on the table, unnoticed. No one noticed. Jonathan did. As the hours passed, the alcohol began to speak. But what truly spoke were the glances. Charles waited for his father to bring up the subject of inheritance. Margaret struggled to swallow Jonathan's words that cast her into his shadow. Langley calculated the consequences of the will. Carter watched Jonathan's hands. They were trembling.
"You need to take your medication."
"In a moment."
That moment would later prove to be very important. At 10:05 p.m. Jonathan stood up. Holding his glass, he walked slowly around the table, looking at each guest one by one. The others could not quite understand this deliberate movement. He stopped in front of the fireplace.
"You'll all stay here tonight. No one goes out in weather like this. There are nights when a man feels he has reached the end of his story."
No one answered. Jonathan turned toward the stairs.
"Good night. We'll talk in the morning."
Jonathan did not lock the door when he entered his room. He never felt the need to. He sat at his desk. Opened his notebook. Picked up his pen. He wrote a sentence. Then he stopped. His hand trembled. There was a strange pressure in his chest. His breathing grew uneven. He reached toward the nightstand. Looked at the bottle. The medicine was there. But Jonathan waited. Charles paced back and forth in his room. The promissory notes were in his pocket. If his father died, he did not finish the thought. Margaret leafed through Jonathan's books. On one page, she found her own words. Altered. Langley sat silently by the fireplace, weighing the outcome of a decision. Henry Collins wrote a single sentence in his notebook. Something will happen tonight. Dr. Carter drank a glass of water in the kitchen. He took a vial from his pocket. Paused for a moment. then put it back. At 11:40 p.m., Jonathan lay down on the bed. His eyes closed. But his sleep was not deep. His breathing grew heavier. Blood slowly, silently, seeped from his mouth. No one heard a thing. Because in this house, everyone was busy with their own fear. At 1:15 a.m., Eleanor's heart raced when she saw the time.
It's too late.
She whispered to herself. She knocked on the door. No answer. She opened it. Anne. The world went silent. Jonathan Hale lay in the bed. But he would write no more stories. The sheets were soaked with blood. Dark stains marked the corner of his mouth. Eleanor stepped back. Her foot struck something. She looked down. Her nightgown. Bloody. Her scream echoed through the walls of the house. Everyone gathered. Dr. Carter checked the pulse.
He's dead.
No one cried. Because everyone was thinking the same thing. Someone in this house knew that Jonathan Hale was going to die tonight. And outside, the snow continued to cover everything. The snow did not stop suddenly. It slowed. It thinned. As if the night had finished its work and was now stepping back to watch what it had left behind. The telephone lines had finally been restored. At 6:47 a.m., the phone hanging on the hallway wall rang. Not loudly. Not with confidence. It rang the way bad news always does. Hesitant, uncertain, yet unavoidable. Eleanor Brooks stared at the phone for a full second before lifting the receiver.
Hello.
Static answered first. Then a voice.
County Sheriff's Office.
There's been a death. Jonathan Hale. Ravenwood Lodge. The roads were blocked. They're still bad.
Stay where you are. No one leaves. We're on our way.
When Eleanor hung up, the room felt even smaller.
They're coming.
No one asked who. Time slowed. No one returned to their room. No one sat comfortably. More wood was added to the fireplace, though no one felt cold. Every sound, the creak of timber, the hiss of the wind, felt louder than it should have been. Charles Hale broke the silence.
This is taking too long.
Victor Langley replied without looking at him.
Snow follows its own schedule.
Margaret Lowell's voice cut sharply through the room.
Or someone needed time.
Eyes shifted. Then quickly turned away. Dr. Samuel Carter stood by the window, his hands clasped behind his back. He watched the road.
They'll come. They always do.
No one commented on how certain he sounded. At 9:22 a.m., the sound finally came. An engine. Then another. Through the falling white, a snowplow emerged, carving a narrow path. Behind it followed a black county car. The house seemed to exhale. The front door opened. Sheriff Walter Briggs entered first. Tall, broad-shouldered, his coat still dusted with snow. Behind him came a younger deputy, eyes alert, jaw set tight. And then, a third man. He paused on the threshold. A black overcoat. A dark fedora. A face that looked as if sleep had nothing useful left to offer him. He did not hurry. He looked at the house as though it had already begun speaking to him. Sheriff Briggs muttered through clenched teeth.
Didn't think you'd come all this way, Blackwood?
Neither did I. Then I heard who had died.
He stepped inside. Edgar Blackwood had arrived. Blackwood did not ask questions. Not yet. He stood still, allowing the room to settle around him. 6 people. 6 different ways of standing too straight.
Did anyone leave the house?
The roads were blocked. The phones were down until morning.
Good. That means the story stayed in one place.
You're calling this a story?
Every death is. Some are just better written.
The door to Jonathan Hale's bedroom was opened again. The air inside was stale. Metallic. Blackwood entered first. He did not touch the body. He looked. At the sheets. At the angle of the head. At the nightstand.
No signs of struggle, no weapon found.
Because no one struggled. And no one attacked.
He pointed to the dried blood at the corner of Jonathan's mouth.
This man wasn't surprised. He was abandoned.
The doctor says it could have been natural.
Doctors say many things, especially when death looks polite. Where's the medication?
There.
Blackwood picked up the bottle, turned it slightly, then placed it back exactly where it had been.
Interesting.
What is?
It was close enough to save him, but not close enough to reach.
The deputy hesitated before speaking.
There's something else.
He gestured toward the foot of the bed. The nightgown lay there. White fabric. Dark stains. Eleanor's breath caught.
That's mine.
Yes. But the blood isn't yours. You didn't enter the room wearing this.
No, I swear.
I know, this isn't carelessness. This is staging.
The word lingered in the air. Staging. Everyone gathered in the living room once more. Sheriff Briggs cleared his throat.
Until we know more, this is a potential homicide.
A murmur spread through the room. Blackwood spoke before panic could grow.
No one is under arrest. Not yet. But understand this, what happened here was not loud, not fast, and not accidental. Someone in this house knew exactly what Jonathan Hale needed to survive, and knew precisely how long he could go without it.
No one spoke. Outside, the snow began to fall again. Lighter now. As if it no longer needed to hide what had already been found. Ravenwood Lodge, same morning. Edgar Blackwood stood at the center of the living room. He did not tell anyone to sit. Nor did he ask anyone to stand. That, too, was deliberate. People made more mistakes when they were on their feet.
I will speak to each of you separately. The order doesn't matter, but your words will.
Who first?
Blackwood's gaze shifted to Eleanor Brooks.
How long had you known Jonathan Hale?
11 years, since his first book.
Were you responsible for his medication?
Yes.
Blackwood did not write anything down.
Why didn't you give him his medicine that night?
I wanted to, but he refused.
You could have insisted.
Jonathan Hale was not a man who could be forced.
The nightgown. Where do you normally remove it?
In my room.
So someone entered your room, or you left it, and you don't remember.
I didn't hurt Jonathan.
I believe you, because the guilty rarely tremble this much.
Eleanor didn't cry. But she didn't relax either. Next in line was Jonathan's closest relative. His son Charles. Charles stood by the window, staring outside. But he wasn't looking at the snow.
What was your relationship with your father like?
Difficult. It always was.
You have debts.
Who told you that?
Your pocket. People usually carry their debts there.
If my father died, I'd be relieved, but I wouldn't kill him.
Why not?
Because he told me he was leaving everything to me.
When?
Last week.
Did anyone else know?
No.
Then, your father's death didn't give you money. It only gave you suspicion. Did you see him leave his room that night?
No.
Did you leave yours?
To use the bathroom.
Everyone who went to the bathroom in this house came dangerously close to a murder. Remember that.
Next in line was Jonathan's doctor. Dr. Samuel Carter. Carter was calm. Too calm.
Your opinion on the cause of death?
Diabetic coma, most likely.
Most likely?
Medical certainty is difficult.
How long could Jonathan Hale have survived that night?
Without medication,
Yes.
hours,
Not minutes?
sometimes.
Then, this murder was committed with time. You could have given him the medicine.
But I didn't.
Why not?
Because Jonathan wasn't afraid of dying.
People aren't afraid of death. They're afraid of losing control.
Carter's hand trembled. Just for a moment. But long enough. Next was Jonathan's writer friend, Margaret Lowell. Margaret's gaze was sharp. Defensive.
Did Jonathan overshadow you?
He overshadowed everyone.
You knew he stole your sentences.
Yes,
You were angry.
I was justified.
Enough to kill?
Writers kill with words, not with people.
There was a pen on the table that night.
Everyone has pens.
But it wasn't Jonathan's.
What are you implying?
Nothing yet. But pens can be sharper than knives.
Next up was Jonathan's lawyer, Victor Langley. Langley straightened his jacket before speaking.
The will, when was it last changed?
2 months ago.
Could it have been changed that night?
Technically, yes.
Practically?
Langley fell silent.
Practically. It's easier to wait for someone to die.
A bead of sweat appeared on Langley's forehead. When the interrogations ended, Blackwood was alone. He wrote a single sentence in his notebook. Everyone is lying. But one person told the truth at the wrong time. He looked up, surveyed the living room, and with the faintest smile, he murmured,
There is a killer in this house, but he still believes he hasn't committed the murder.
Ravenwood Lodge, same day, afternoon. The snow had picked up again. But now, it wasn't hiding anything. It was only watching. Edgar Blackwood stood in front of the fireplace. His hands were clasped behind his back. He wasn't looking at the fire. He was looking at people. 6 individuals. 6 breaths. 6 different fears.
Some of you are asking the wrong question right now. Was a murder committed in this house? Or was someone simply allowed to die?
The sentence altered the air in the room. Sheriff Briggs stepped forward.
Dr. Carter said the cause of death could be natural.
Yes. And that is precisely why he is the first suspect.
Dr. Samuel Carter lifted his head.
What?
You knew Jonathan Hale's condition better than anyone. You knew when he needed his medication, how long he could endure without it. You knew everything.
That doesn't make me guilty.
No. But it makes you suitable. That night, Jonathan Hale did not take his medication.
The doctor was there. He could have intervened.
Jonathan refused.
But you were the doctor. Moreover, I saw the small vial you took out of your pocket in the kitchen.
What vial?
Insulin, in the wrong dosage. It can be fatal.
Everyone in the room turned toward Carter. Charles whispered,
He could have done it.
This is nonsense.
It's not nonsense. There was opportunity. There was knowledge.
Jonathan wanted to die. He told me so.
That's where you made your mistake.
Blackwood approached the table. He opened Jonathan Hale's notebook.
If Jonathan wanted to die, he wouldn't have written a final sentence. This isn't a farewell, it's a signal. Jonathan Hale did not take his medication that night, but he was not murdered.
What are you saying?
No one touched Jonathan Hale that night, but someone knew he wouldn't be able to reach his medication.
His gaze stopped on Victor Langley. Langley did not move.
Lawyers always understand 2 things: time and distance. The medication was deliberately placed just out of reach.
But the vial was there.
Yes, but Jonathan went to bed that night knowingly weakened.
Langley tried to speak. He couldn't.
The will could have been changed that night, but Jonathan never signed it before he died.
I just waited. I didn't give him the medication.
Because sometimes killing is not touching.
Sheriff Briggs pulled out the handcuffs. After everything was over, Blackwood opened the notebook once more. Jonathan Hale's last written sentence read, The most dangerous killer is the one who never stains his hands. Blackwood closed the notebook.
He was right.
Outside, the snow continued to fall. But it was no longer hiding anything. As Victor Langley was taken away, no one watched him go. Eleanor did not cry. Charles lowered his head. Margaret remained silent. Carter stood alone with the weight of the truth. Edgar Blackwood paused at the door. He put on his hat.
This house was not a novel. But it was a very well-written lie.
He opened the door. Stepped into the snow. And Ravenwood Lodge was never truly silent again.